Minasan, wakari nasai. Today I'm here to bring you yet another amazing band from the country of Japan. The sixth live performing group from the franchise BangDream, Ave Mujica. They have a gothic rock or metal feel to them, having 5 members as always. However, they have 2 unique traits about them. The fact that they wear masks on stage, well, they did for the first 2 years at least, and each of the girls have code names, or more like an alias, while they have their masks on. There is another band that have stage names, but it's a little different. For this group, we have Uika Misumi, aka Dolores, played by Riko Sasaki as lead guitarist and vocals. That's impressive. Mutsumi Wakaba, aka Mortis, played by Yuzuki Watase on rhythm guitar. Umiri Iyahata, aka Tamoris, the bass player, played by Mei Okada. Niyamu Utenji, aka Amoris, that little brat, played by Akane Yonezawa on drums. And keyboard is Sakiko Tagawa, aka Oblivionis, played by Kanan Takao, who in lore actually created the group after her former band broke up. After that, she decided to create a brand new group from the ground up, grabbing 2 of her childhood friends and 2 others to create Ave Mujica, one of which even being from that former band, having the goal of making the quickest major debut. Also in lore, the girls actually have similar backgrounds, either coming from a wealthy family, being the daughters of celebrities, or just being celebrities themselves. A little more details on that in the character facts section that will contain mild story spoilers. But for now, let's dive into their career. Fair warning, I will most likely butcher a few of these concert titles. Pretty sure the language is Latin or some kind of European, and I just cannot pronounce it properly, but I will do my best. In 2023, they had a big debut with 5 completely original, amazing tracks. In order, we got Black Birthday, 2 Moons, Choir Esquire, although you don't need to pronounce the S, Memento Mori, and finally Masquerade Rhapsody Request, but the Q's are replaced with question marks, looking fancy, all releasing about a week or 2 after the prior in April and May. Then the first mini album, Allie Jacta Est, having all prior tracks and the new song, Ave Mujica, which debuted in the final episode of the Maigo anime, and honestly, all 6 of these tracks are absolute bangers. They had what is technically their first live, but labeled as the 0th live, titled Primo Dia in Skyna, which is indeed Latin and means the first day on stage. How fitting. Debuting all of their tracks and even the then unreleased Ave Mujica song, also even their 3 covers. More on those later. They were even the opening act for day 2 of Roselia's Farbe concert. Then, as I teased a minute ago, although not the focus, the group did make their official debut in the final episode of the Maigo anime, most of the characters being sprinkled in throughout the series prior to this. Not the whole series, by the way, just the Maigo anime is what I meant. In 2024, their first proper live, Perdere Omnia, or Destroy Everything. Damn. Basically having all of the same tracks, but now debuting their first single, Utopia, and Angles, the coupling track. Later on, they had 4 new songs, each releasing a month after the last, all being elemental based. In order, we got Symbol 1 Fire, Symbol 2 Air, Symbol 3 Water, and Symbol 4 Earth. A month after those 4 was another new track, Ether, and then 2 months later was their second mini-album, Elements, having those 4 symbol tracks and Ether. And then their second live, Querue Lumina, Searching for the Light, had 2 different shows, debuting the first 3 symbol songs, as the 4th one wasn't out yet, but keeping with this, their third live, Veritas, or Truth, was the first time performing the 4th symbol and Ether. Still in 2024, their 4th live, Adventus, Latin for Arrival, was right at the end of the year, even having Roselia as the opening act. It's cool how the prior year Ave Mujica was opening for Roselia, and now Roselia was opening for Ave Muji. At this 4th live, they debuted, or more like they teased us, with Kill Kiss for the first time, as the song was like barely announced at the time. Also, by the way, if you didn't notice, that's 4 proper named lives in the same year. I have said this before in my yearly recap, but this really should have just been a tour. The song list and themes barely changed at all. But I think someone higher up clearly wants them to catch up to Maigo in numbered lives, despite debuting a few years later. But it is what it is, not really trying to complain, more like just sharing an opinion on this, which is a very odd choice to me. So, 2025, big year so far. Their own anime, BangDream, Ave Mujica, The Die is Cast. Amazing show that even deals with some serious mental health problems, really adding to the story, and I highly recommend. Though it can get a little intense, so binging it may hurt a little bit. Definitely don't be afraid just to take it a few episodes at a time. Anyway, the opening for the show, Kill Kiss, being their second single and is an amazing track, for sure check out the opening animation just to get a good feel of the show. This song being coupled with Georgette Me, Georgette You, the ending theme for the anime. The series also giving us a few new tracks, Imprison 12, Crucifix 10, Hachibuse Dance, Sora no Musica, and Alter Ego, basically all coming from the second half of the show. All 7 of these tracks being compiled together for the group's first album, Completeness. Very fitting for their whole theme, but an odd choice not having a brand new song on it. Like the currently unreleased track called Divine that should be out within a few months, which actually will be the theme for a Steam and Switch game called Progress Orders. Early on this year, they had their special Kill Kiss Live, which was even later uploaded to YouTube for a short time. Pretty sure the only new track there was Georgette Me, the ending theme for the anime, as the other show exclusive tracks did not have their episodes released yet. Then very recently, they had their first joint live with their next generation castmates, My Go, titled Beyond the Fork in the Road, a 2-day event, day 1 being Petrichor, and day 2 being Geosmin, I don't know. Debuting all the new songs from the second half of the anime, but also debuting 2 other groups, the first being Cryshik, who in lore is the original group, having 3 members of My Go and 2 from Ave Mujica, who broke up before our story in the current day started. Then also Sumimi being the opening act, a duo singing unit involving the lead singer of Ave and someone else, who I will go into more detail on in the lore section. Also just want to point out day 1 of this event recreated a scene from the anime, the first episode of the Avemuji anime, and it's done very, very well. Lastly for this year, for now, towards the end of July, they will have their 5th live, well 6th if you include the 0th, a 2-day event titled Nova Historia, which is a dope name and very easy to say, so I double appreciate that very much. And actually already confirmed for February 28th, 2026, they will be present at the big BangDream 10th Anniversary Live event, along with all of the other bands and the lead singers for the non-performing groups. Assuming everything goes well at least, this will be Avemujica's first big fest, and it's just gonna be wicked overall. I am super excited. I know I speak for a lot of people when I say I am really excited to see Amita perform again. Outside of BangDream, they have been guests at Mega Vegas, Billy Macro Link, and the 802 Palette event, as well as being at Anisama World in Manila. That's the capital of the Philippines, by the way, which I know I have a lot of audience over there, so hopefully I didn't just butcher your capital city's name. That's actually scheduled for this year, in fact, and hasn't even happened yet. But at Anisama proper on day 1 in 2024 they were there, and they will be there this year again as well. And then Animax 2024 Fall Edition. They currently only have 3 covers, which is crazy because they've only had these 3 for like a year and a half now, maybe even longer. No, it's definitely been longer because they debuted in like 2023, so yeah. Anyway, they are Dark Heaven, originally by Ali Project, from the anime Little Goddess Karen. That's old school. A better song in my opinion would be Kings, originally by Angela for K Project. And then their best cover, Daten by Creepy Nuts, the opening for Call of the Night, all of which being featured in the BangDream Covers Collection Extra Volume from 2024. I'm now realizing they probably only have 3 covers because they are not actually featured in the mobile game. And at this point they don't really need new covers as they just have so many original tracks that are all very, very good. Also probably why they debuted with 5 original tracks when most groups barely have 1. Well, moving on, I would now like to recommend 10 tracks that I think you should listen to. Honestly, all of their stuff is great, but here they are. The top 6 are the whole Ale Jakta SDP, then the bottom 4 are on the new first album, all being tracks from the anime. Alright, moving on to some lore. As I said in the intro, Sakiko formed the group after her former band broke up. But even before that, Morphonica was actually the inspiration for Sakiko to form a band to begin with, which led to Cryshik, the group existing prior to our present day story, and having current day Ave Mujica members Sakiko and Mutsumi, along with 3 members of present day Maigo, Taki, Tomori, and Soyo. Obviously that band didn't work out, which led to our 2 new groups that we have. And I just want to give a shout out to the former group having the bass player on the right side, from the audience perspective at least. That like never happens, ever, especially in Bandori. Then just to expand on this a little more, when Tomori was in middle school, Sakiko invited her to join her band after their chance meeting. Sakiko then composing a song from one of Tomori's notebooks. The intended meaning of the cry half of the band name is to cry out or to shout, while the shik apparently means refined and sophisticated. Also, earlier you probably heard me say cry chick and now I'm saying cry shik. It is spelled with a CH, but I'm pretty sure because of their accent they say Cryshik. So both is fine and I might accidentally say either or going forward. But as to why it didn't work out, well the anime very clearly shows why, so give it a go. Well, actually, you should probably watch the My Go anime first, as that is technically the prequel. Or more like part 1, but either way, they're both really good seasons, so just watch them both. Then, moving on from that, the Ave Mujica lead singer Uika is also associated with another unit, that being Sumimi with Manasumita, portrayed by Hazuki Tanda, the group being a combination of their family names, Sumi from Sumita and Mi from Misumi. And as I said in the career section, they have had a live performance very recently at the joint live with My Go, and it was really good stuff. So, moving on to the characters, and well, actually, I just gotta say, they don't seem to be in the girls' band party game yet, so thus they have no cards, which means getting photos of them is a little difficult. I'll probably just take some screenshots from the anime, but just warning you, there won't be much variety here. So, the tallest member is Nyamu, the shortest being Mutsumi, Umiri is middle for the height, and Uika is middle in terms of age. Sakiko being the youngest, and Umiri being the eldest. I really like when it works out like that, and I get to mention everybody. Also, just in case you want to fact check, yes, Mutsumi and Sakiko are born first in the calendar year, but the school year in Japan starts in April, so that's the cutoff. You're born before that, you're a grade lower, which even I have messed up with in some prior group videos. But speaking of school, Umiri and Uika are the only ones in the band that attend the same school, that being Hanasakigawa High, basically being the main school of the franchise, both of them being in class 1B. This being the same school that My Go's Taki attends, along with Olafop and Party, the original main characters of the franchise. A bunch of other characters too, but I'm not going to sit here and list them all. As always, the members' family names have a theme of landmarks, these ones being railway stations across Japan, those being Misumi, Wakaba, Yahata, Togawa, and Utenji. Also, as I said in the intro, at least I think I did, they are the second band in the series whose members use stage names, the other being Reza Seelen. With those girls, their stage names were a play on their actual names, Roka being rock or lock, depending on the accent I guess, and Misaki being masking. With Ave Mujica, the members' stage names come from the features of the moon's surface, or the moon seas that are the dark areas on the moon apparently formed by lava flowing into ancient basins, which were originally called Maria by early astronomers who mistook them for actual seas. And once again, they are Latin terms that I will get into during each member's section. But dang, big history and science lesson for everyone there. Didn't expect that from this depression hard rock series that originally started as a fun, lighthearted pop rock series. Anyway, moving on to the characters specifically, various levels of spoilers ahead, but I won't drop the big spoilers with context at least, so don't worry too much. Starting with Uika, stage name Dolores, named after the Lacus Dolores, or the Lake of Sorrow. She is at Hanasakigawa High, Class 1B. Unlike Kasumi and Ran, who are lead singers and rhythm guitarists for their respective bands, Uika is the first vocalist who is the lead guitarist rather than rhythm. Also is currently the only character in the franchise to be actively part of more than one group at the same time, that being Mujica and Sumimi. Then, along with another member I'll talk about, Uika is one of the only characters to exclusively use a 7-string guitar instead of the usual 6-string. Roka from Ras does pull it out sometimes, but these girls use it for like every song. Next one is the tiny spoiler, her real name actually being Hatsune, and there's a lot more to this, a very serious topic that is probably better if you just watch the anime. And while going forward, I'll just mention now that all of them have some sort of mental health problem. I myself am not a doctor, I can't fully identify the exact problems that all the girls have, but Uika has a small case of identity crisis and maybe even some abandonment issues, or at least is scared of Sakiko betraying her or just losing her in general. Again, the anime explains this much better, and she is even described by her Seiyu as a type of person who is like a riddle to solve, and that the more you learn about her, the scarier she becomes. So, moving on to Sakiko, aka Oblivionis, named after Lacus Oblivionis, meaning the Lake of Forgetfulness. She attends Hanaoka High, the same school as Tomori and Anan from My Go. This being the secondary school in the franchise, with lots of Afterglow, Pastel Palettes, Roselia, and Hello Happy World girls attending here. Basically, if they don't go to the other big school where Popipa, Uika, and Umiri attend, they currently are at this one, or they graduated last year in lore. Sakiko is very much the main character of this band and this part of the story. She was the composer for Crashik, I assume for Mujica as well, also in charge of Avemuji's lore and writing scripts for their plays. As I said before, she is childhood friends with both Uika and Mutsumi, leading to those two being the first two members of her new band. She tends to refer to herself using watakushi, which is a very polite pronoun, though it is often not used in actual conversations, so that's a unique fun touch for her. She is also shown to love dolls. When she was a child, she would always take her favorite doll with her when she went to visit Uika at the island during the summer, this doll also belonging to her mother before she passed away. And last for her, she is born on Valentine's Day, a holiday focused on love, ironic considering her character arc. Good job on the writers if that was intentional. Next is Mutsumi, her other name being Mortis, inspired by Lacus Mortis, the Lake of Death. She attends Tsuki no Mori High, same as Maigo's Soyo and the Morphonica girls. Sakiko actually attended the middle school version of this when she was younger, and that's where she got her inspiration from Morphonica to form the band. Mutsumi serving as the secondary protagonist in the anime, though she actually appeared in the most episodes out of the group, 11 out of 13. I did say there are 2 members of the band that play 7-string guitars. She is the other one. In lore, she can also play the piano and is a big fan of pastel palettes, even singing one of their songs in karaoke in the anime. But she also loves cucumbers, even growing them in her school's courtyard. To add to this, her phone's wallpaper is a growing cucumber, and her icon in the messaging app is a photo of a cucumber flower. Back to her school for a sec, like many Tsuki no Mori students, she comes from a rich family full of celebrities. Her father is a famous comedian, while her mother is an actress, and kind of a bad mother in my opinion. Which leads me to her final point, her disorder. She has dissociative identity disorder, formed through severe neglect and trauma that occurred in her childhood, having many alter versions in her, the persona of Mortis being her protector personality. And of course there is more to this, but I will once again leave that for you to decide if you want to watch the show or not. But big shout outs to her episode where her Seiyu Yuzuki voiced like 10 different versions of herself. And actually there's one more quick fact, she is the only member whose stage name starts with the same letter as her real name, Mortis and Mutsumi. Yamu's stage name is Amoris, named after Cygnus Amoris, the Bay of Love. Not too much to say about her, but she does go to Geijutsu Academy, same school as Rei from RAS. They even live in the same apartment complex. She is also a big fan of Roselia, Akko in particular. That's a biased drummer right there. She is currently a rookie actress and beauty influencer who goes under the name Yamuchi, in which she cares a little too much about views and clout, and as a result can come off as a bit shallow. She has a very serious attitude towards the entertainment industry and believes the band should cater to what the audience wants. Despite all this seriousness, she does truly love doing what she does, though I guess the stress is just a little too much sometimes, leading to her being a bit of a hassle. But she is ambidextrous, a trait she shares with her Seiyu. The last character is Umiri, aka Tamoris, named after Lacus Tamoris, or the Lake of Fear, and she attends Hanasakigawa Girls High School. When she was young, she was the bassist of an all-girls band where she basically also served as the leader, and having her believe they could one day debut as professionals. However, on the day of the big audition that she got for them, everyone else bailed, leaving her on stage all alone. Naturally, the event scarring her and leaving her devastated. And because of this, she decided to join many different bands at the same time as to not form a deeper attachment to any of them, so she wouldn't have to go through that same pain again. It also led to her being afraid of not being regarded as a trustworthy person. But going off of that, in a more positive note, she is exceptionally gifted at the bass, playing as a support artist for 30 different bands, often even playing for multiple bands on the same day. Also currently being the only character to exclusively use a 5-string bass rather than a 4-string one, as well as being the only bass player whose image color isn't warm, all the others being forms of red, orange, and yellow, while hers is a darkish blue. Last up, according to the main screenwriter of the anime, the persona of Umiri was inspired by a real post from social networks, where one of the team bass players claimed at one point she had been a member of 10 different bands simultaneously. And that is it for the character facts, but I just want to say one more quick opinion before moving on. I feel these stage personas are named all wrong. I mean, they do work, but if they were trying to keep a theme going, I'd say it's better if it was Uika, who is currently Sorrow, being Fear, as for her fear of losing Sakiko. And then swapping it, so who is currently Fear was switched to Sorrow. That being Umiri, the Sorrow from her old band bailing on her, basically giving her PTSD. And I mean, like I said, Fear does totally work with Umiri, but I feel like it's better for Uika. Mutsumi is currently Death, but Love would be fitting due to her love for her old group, Kryshik. Sakiko currently being Forgetfulness, which I don't know how that's a thing. Like I said, the others do make sense, but this one, not really. I think her stage name should have been named after Death, due to the death of her mother, which in turn led to her father basically abandoning her. Then Yamu instead of Love should be Forgetfulness, because of her fake airhead personality. Honestly, I don't know, this was just what was left over. If any lakes on the moon are named after deception or jealousy, this would have been great for her. Either way, the final episode does have them referencing their respective emotions, or the lakes that they are named after, and I thought that was really cool. So the final section now, moving on to the Seiyu themselves. All the ladies are from different prefectures, born in different months, and are different ages. Okada being the eldest, born in 96, and the tallest at 162 centimeters. Watase being the youngest, born in 03, while both Takao and Sasaki are the shortest, both being 150 centimeters. Akane is the middle child in terms of age and height, kind of like her character. for the height at least. Riko and Akane are both blood type A, while the other 3 are type O. Oh, and they're also all from different agencies. Mei being in Ace Crew, Yuzuki being in Hibiki, big agencies there. Riko is in Honeycomb Entertainment, and Kanon was in Link Plan until they very recently shut down. Now she's part of Oncherry with all the other former Link Plan ladies. Then Akane is a freelancer, which makes me wonder how Bandori even found her. As for music-related things outside of Bandori, Riko is a solo singer, having lots of music actually, like 8 singles and 4 or so mini-albums. She used to be in a duo unit known as Reconnect, though they only had 1 song and were only active for 1 year. Also being a live performer in the Pretty series, specifically Kirato Prichan. Being part of Bushiroad's Road 59 stage series, and a live performer in Tokyo 7 Sisters with the unit Off-White. I'll also actually mention recently doing a stage play for the series Kageki Shoujo, playing the same character that she does in the anime. That's a lot of stuff, she is very active. Mei Okada very recently debuted as a solo act with her debut EP. Then about a decade ago she was part of Tenko Shoujo, being the leader from 2014 to 2019 when she retired from the group. Nowadays she's also part of D4DJ's Mermaid unit. Really good stuff over there. Keeping with that, Yuzumoon is also in D4DJ but with the unit Lyrical Lily. Prior to this though, she used to be in an idol unit, Saki no Ononoko, under the name Mao Hazuki in 2019 for about a year. Also, totally forgot she recently joined Anomalia Q, a Seiyu unit formed by her agency Hibiki, like a year and a half ago, and they haven't really done anything since. But next would be Little Miss Takao, formerly of Earthstar Dream with fellow Bandori girl Yuki Nakashima for like 3 or so years until the group went their separate ways at the end of 2017. She's definitely the most active Seiyu in the band, having a lot of roles especially for her age. But for other multimedia, she is part of the Utterly Pride franchise with the group Sunny Peace. Lastly, the dangerously attractive Akane, and well, she's more of a musician and hasn't done much of anything outside of Bandori. Yet. Not sure if she ever will, even though she's shown her amazing acting abilities portraying that little brat that is Nyamu. And that is the ending for this one. This is the exact kind of music I vibe with, so obviously I dig them a lot. Looking forward to the inevitable joint live with Roselia, and one with Ras would be really dope too. Even just the track featuring both bands would be wicked. Also, real quick, want to shout out episode 12 of the anime using the ending theme and animation as the opening. It really threw me off. I literally thought 20 minutes passed in the blink of an eye. Naturally, that also meant the opening theme now became the ending theme for that episode. Really fun idea. Once again, I highly recommend that you watch it, or at least just check out the opening credits, which of course will be linked down below, and I hope you've enjoyed the video and learned something new. If so, please do leave a like and join me in the next one, where I will be going over the Seiyuu Awards from every year since their beginnings, talking about winners and such, and also who deserves some awards in the future and whatnot. I also have a few strong opinions when it comes to that, and a little conspiracy theory for it. Not really. Well, kind of. People will take it way too seriously, but I'm kind of just joking around. Anyway, I look forward to seeing you there.